The election of Joe Biden as 46th President of the United States has already drawn gleeful pleas from left-wing elements in Britain. Some have hoped he would punish this country for daring to leave the European Union and forging a strong relationship with a Trump administration which valued the idea of global Britain. True, the FTA is dead for now. The thousands of hours spent in negotiations will be shelved, while Biden focuses on repairing relations with the EU. While UK-US relations may become more complicated, however, critics of Brexit may not see the comeuppance they so cravenly desire. Biden, an internationalist who was chair of the Senate Foreign Policy Committee, will know that PM Boris Johnson forged a close relationship with fellow populist Trump, and that he will now be forced to pivot, according to knowledgeable insiders. However, Biden will not make this an uncomfortable process. Like Trump, Biden will be keen to erase his predecessor's legacy, and that will mean an embracing of allies. Calls that America is back echo Biden's view that ideologically led "I'll do it with you or without you" approach to US foreign policy is over, and Britain will continue to be seen as a strategically important player, and an axle to the international burden sharing he wishes to return to. In terms of security and defense sharing, relations will continue apace. Relations between intelligence agencies on both sides of the pond are deeply embedded, as former US intelligence chief Dr. Anthony Wells told the Sunday Express last week. Improved relations between the CIA and Oval Office once the agenda changes from focusing purely on America First issues like the freeing of US hostages to broader collaborative policies will strengthen the Five Eyes intelligence club. While it's likely that Biden, fiercely proud of his Irish ancestry, may foster particularly warm relations with Dublin, it's worth remembering how another president of proud Irish descent, John F. Kennedy, so valued the special relationship that he overruled his cabinet to ensure Britain's nuclear deterrent would remain independent of US control. It's worth remembering, too, that Senator Biden supported the UK during the Falklands conflict while Ronald Reagan had to be finessed by Margaret Thatcher. If, as he has promised, Biden continues to be tough on China, Britain's willingness to do its bit, not least by sending our new carrier HMS Queen Elizabeth to the Far East next year, will not be taken for granted, and Downing Street will once again find itself on the same page with key issues like climate change and the flawed Iran nuclear deal. To Tehran's delight, Biden will now rejoin. Of course, there will be differences. It was said of Obama that there was never a president who liked to stand and admire a problem as much as Barack. While the general public on both sides of the Atlantic may feel better about Biden's rhetoric, the foreign policy should brace itself for a return to the slow-turning cogs of bureaucracy that Trump broke through. Statements will once again take weeks to clear. Press conferences will become more predictable and less impactful, leaving US diplomats here and around the world nostalgic for a Trump tweet. The fact that more than a quarter of Trump voters in the US dislike him personally tells us how mistaken it has been to conflate personality with policy. If you argue the bilateral relationship has been complicated with Trump, it's because of his personality. It's not that he has held complicated and nuanced views about policies, or a grander strategic vision which pulls in threads, said a senior US State Department insider last night. That level of clarity is going to be missed. And as the UK continues to re-establish its independence from Brussels, that level of transparency will be missed here, too. And then there's the issue of the US next ambassador to Britain. During the US primaries, Senator Elizabeth Warren pledged to prioritize career diplomats for key ambassadorships around the world, arguing that big donors do not have the foreign policy experience to become diplomatic generals in the field. She missed the point, however. What political appointees do have is the ability to get the President of the United States on the phone 24 answers a day and get answers. Biden knows this, and his choice will be crucial in building new bridges with Boris Johnson, whom he has never met. Certainly, no relationship is on autopilot anymore, but London remains one of the most important ambassadorships and is, arguably, even more relevant now. Whoever it is, his job will become immeasurably easier once we've completed our negotiations with the EU. As former US Ambassador Sir Nigel Sheinwald said last night, it's now down to Boris Johnson to get the EU deal done and start to react seriously to our partners. That we're out of the EU now and start to rebuild a real relationship with our European partners, with the Irish question put to rest. It will only be a matter of time before the dust is blown off those trade negotiations and an FTA is agreed. The history of the special relationship has been one of flow and ebb for 8 decades, but it has endured and Biden will not be the one to end it.